Welcome to Getting Down with Purpose podcast, where we go beyond the grind and dive deep into what truly drives success, purpose. I'm Craig Sweeney, your host, and each week we will sit down with entrepreneurs, leaders, and game changers who are building businesses with meaning and making an impact beyond the bottom line. And now, let's get down with purpose. Well, welcome to Getting Down with Purpose podcast. My name is Craig Sweeney, and I'm here with Christyn and Christyn Bobak. And I'd like to start us off with a prayer. Let us remember in the presence of God, in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, thank you for your many gifts. Thank you for bringing the Bobaks here together so that we can reach many families out there, not only just in the special needs community, but just families that are going through life. Certainly blessed and honored to get to share their experiences with us. And we ask for your grace. And when we'll say, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. All right. Well, thank you guys again. I appreciate it. I'm so blessed and fortunate that Stephen introduced us. So for those all that have tuned in before and know, we're recording out of the Reminding Coffee Shop in Terabella on the North Shore of Louisiana, and in Studio 7 in the Reminding. And so when I was talking to Stephen, I think we wwere talking about Reed and, you know, him having Down syndrome, and I think we got on the subject of soccer because you certainly knew that, had some boys playing soccer, and then triathlons came up. Yeah. It's like, I think you need to meet Christyn Bobak. Yeah. You guys have some things in common. Yeah. So, just really blessed that he introduced us and we were able to come together. I know we had hoped to have Mignon on with us, but she couldn't make it today to kind of share. You know, it's usually been myself and a guest or maybe a couple, and I thought it'd be neat to have both of us as couples. But with all that being said, she goes, Craig, if I would have been on the show, I don't know how much I would have said. So maybe that was her plan all along. But I'm really grateful to have you guys on. I think, which is, you know, we're going to talk about Martin and certainly y'all's story there. But, I've heard a little bit, but why don't you guys take us back to maybe Franciscan Steubenville and maybe how you guys met a little bit. I think that would be kind of neat to hear again and tell the audience. So.
Sure. Well, we're so honored to be here, honestly, and just to share our story. We feel humbled and honored to be here, and excited as well to share a little bit about Martin and ourselves. But yeah, so we, going back to the glory days, if we will. So we both went to Franciscan University in Steubenville, Ohio. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. Came from a big family there, one of 10, 5 boys, 5 girls. And
thought we had a big family.
Yeah,
4.
You do. You do.
Yep. And one way or another, I'm number 5 of the family. We all ended up at Franciscan. And
wow.
I had a brother that first went to the Air Force Academy. He ended up dropping out. He thought he was going to be a priest. He went to Franciscan. Then I had a sister who was going to be a doctor. But she ended up transferring to Franciscan. Anyway, so we've all been through there. And it was tough for me because I think my gift was athletics and sports, specifically soccer. And I had some opportunities to play soccer, and that was like number 1 in my life at the time, you know. And coincidentally, at the same time, they just started a soccer program there, which really means that you're going to be really bad for a while if you just start a program. So, but it was definitely the push I mean, my parents were going to let me. They weren't going to pay for any university anyway, so it was kind of like an easy move for me to go there, and excited that they were having a soccer program, honestly. Yeah. And that's where we met. We were both soccer players, and Christyn was a transfer from New Orleans. Let her go into her story, but I remember meeting her for the first time because we were both injured, and they had a like the trainers where we had to go and check in. Here comes this really smiley girl, and we're supposed to wear black shorts and a gray shirt, like very kind of military.
I didn't get the memo before I showed up.
She comes
you didn't get those
super
notes?
New Orleans, very loud and proud, and
like Mardi Gras colors,
tie dye shorts, tie dye shirt,
purple, green, and gold.
super smiley girl, and I'm like, who is this? You know, I'm from the cold Buffalo, New York, and she was like, just obviously caught my eye, and I finally got the courage to go up and talk with her at a practice. But I'll let you introduce yourself and where you were coming from first. So.
Yeah, so grew up, born and raised in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And actually my senior year was when Katrina hit. So I was at Mount Carmel Academy. And as, you know, if you're local, you know, Lakeview was 10 feet underwater. Sure. So my senior year, our school went 10 feet underwater. And my goal the whole time up to that point was I'm going to LSU. I even had a tryout for the soccer team at LSU. I didn't, you know, it wasn't to the point where I knew if I made it or not. I just knew I was going to a tryout. Katrina hits and totally rerouted my priorities and my perspective on where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. And at that point, Franciscan was always on my radar because I was going to summer conferences, and I had two sisters that had already gone there and were currently there. So the rest of my siblings were at LSU. So both of them, of course, were on my radar. Katrina kind of shook things up for me, and as it did most of us.
Oh, yeah.
And at that point, I wasn't ready to leave home. I was easily homesick. I'm like, I'm not going to up and leave at this point. So I decided I'm not going to go to LSU. I do want to go to Franciscan. I'm going to stay home, go to a local college, save money, and transfer. That's what I did. So I transferred as a sophomore and walked straight into tryouts, and the rest is history.
Wow.
Apparently, I walked in with tie-dyed clothes and had no idea that wasn't what we were supposed to do.
Oh, gosh.
So anyway, that's how we met.
Yeah, we met. We were both injured, and the women would play on one side, the men would play on the other side at practice, and the injured people were right in the middle. And so I got the courage to go up and talk with this wild one over here, and it was a pretty funny conversation. It was like, "Hey, I'm Christian." She's like, "Oh, I'm Christyn." And we got to talk about family, and she's like, "Oh, I'm one of 11. I'm number 5 of 11." I'm like, "I'm number 5 of 10." And then it just kind of kept going and snowballing.
The whole world went blurry around us, and it was just us looking at each other.
Yeah. And what was your injury?
Hip flexor.
I think it was probably an ankle. I had a bunch of
hip
ankles.
flexor.
Yeah.
If it would have been Mignon and I, it would have been both knees. Although, shoulder, back. I was always in the training room. We just were at LSU and Tulane, and 5 years apart. So we would have never. Our story was a little different.
Right. Right. Still a lot of commonality.
Yeah.
So that's where we met, and we actually ended up starting to date at the end of our senior years, and came down to Louisiana to teach for a while and coach soccer, and that was a culture shock. But
St. Paul's.
St. Paul's.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
St. Paul's. Shout out Wolves. Love that school, and awesome soccer program also. And she was doing the same thing. She was teaching and coaching.
I was at Mount Carmel. Went back to my alma mater.
Nice.
So that was a dream job for me.
Yeah.
So taught religion, coached soccer over there.
Yeah. Eventually got married, and then we had an opportunity to go back to Franciscan and become the head men's and women's soccer coach there. So it was kind of like a full circle thing. And we had our first 2 children up there, really 1, 2 kind of, and then now we have 4. So.
No, it's fantastic. I have to tell this story because, Mignon, she's been on her faith journey. We were talking about TMIY and she, and she just was confirmed. I think since we've had our lunch together.
Congratulations! Did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So she, she was one of 6, and they all either went to Jesuit or Dominican. Well, she had transferred over to St. Martin's, right? So she was the only sibling that didn't go, and that was her mom had a little something going on. I don't know, at the time, but with sports and whatnot, she's like, didn't happen. And so she went through this whole program. She's been listening to Bible in a Year and Catechism in a Year.
Mike
And
Schmitz.
and she was like, "Oh, they both went to Franciscan. Do they happen to know Father Mike?"
Father Mike Schmitz.
Yeah.
And you said,
he probably doesn't remember, but I spoke at a conference with him. It was a while ago. But my family was close with the original Father Mike that like kind of started Franciscan too. So anyways, it's a small Catholic world up there, you know? So yeah. But yeah.
yeah. So you got married and then, Martin, so you have two, correct?
Yeah.
We have 4 children.
You have 4 children.
So our first 2, we had our first one up there
Yeah.
when we were coaching.
Yeah.
We just like took him on the road to all the away games. He traveled with us. In fact, it was funny because when we'd play other teams, you know, what am I to do with a newborn? I started coaching a collegiate team with a newborn. And so what else could I do? But my injured players would wear him. And so you're the other team.
You got a bench player. Yeah.
We're not just teaching them soccer. We're teaching them life skills.
We're teaching them life skills. We're like, this is what motherhood is. You know, strap them on. Let's
I
go.
love it.
Yeah.
So, and then COVID hit and broke out, and we had just found out we were pregnant for number 2. And that's kind of what, again, big things happen, shifts your perspective and shifts your priorities. So at that point, we were like, what do we do? You know, there were a lot of question marks with collegiate sports. So we had decided through a lot of discernment, let's hang up those coaching shoes for now on the collegiate level. Let's go back by family. So that's what brought us back here and had our number 2. And that was around a crazy time for our family specifically because, and number 3 and 4 came later. But having number 2 was when everything was going down with his family and his dad specifically. Yeah. But what happened with his father really led into what we believe, like part of the reason why the Lord really gifted us with Martin and why Martin has his name really came from everything that went down with his father.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a crazy time. COVID. We were actually visiting down here, and then that's when that whole thing. Yeah, and so we just ended up staying. You know, all the universities were shut down, and then around the same, within a year or so, my dad was he actually elected to have a surgery. Brain aneurysms ran in his family, and this was kind of a preventative surgery, so that you know, he would be okay in the future. Younger guy, and the surgery, you know, apparently went successful, but he actually got up, went to the restroom, came back, and had a stroke, and then 30 days later he ended up passing. So it was a while. I mean, to put that, there's really no words for that. You know, we were actually living with family members at the time. We were kind of homeless, if you will. We didn't really have a spot.
We're house hunting.
You know, we're pregnant with number 2, and you know, my dad passes, and he was up in Buffalo, New York, and that's a whole nother story. Just like, you know, I was traveling back and forth during COVID, and you know,
navigating that was very challenging,
unbelievable.
Right?
I mean, we had a huge family, and they only let one person at a time go in. We had to wait outside in snowy Buffalo, like literally in the cold, just to go see my dad, like one at a time, and we'd be there all day long. And anyways, but then our second was about to be born. You know, Christyn was back in New Orleans, and we ended up we had Joan, our girl, and then a week later my dad passed, and so it was a wild time to put it lightly, to see brand new life at its beginning, and then you know, and then my dad as well, and I mean, it was just a wild time, you know. And so my dad's name was Martin. I can go into who he was, just an incredible man. But yeah, that's why we named our son Martin as well.
That's beautiful. So I know our stories are a little bit different as far as Reed and Martin and when we found out. So do you want to share a little bit about that? Because, you know, I think whether it's listeners who have been through that journey, or maybe they listen to it right now, or in the middle, of that, right?
Sure.
So share a little bit about y'all's journey.
So we go for our 20-week ultrasound, and he was not there with me for it, just because at this point it's your third child. Your first child, your spouse is there with all of them. They're calling off work.
You don't miss that.
You don't miss those, right? And you're offended if they have a big meeting that makes them miss, right?
Yeah.
So by child number 3, I'm like, just be there for the delivery, babe. We're good. So
call me.
Call me. Yeah, I'll text you when I'm in labor. So
we're having a kid.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like the pacifier story where it's like you're disinfecting. By the time you get to the other one, you're like,
totally. Exactly.
Things change. Yeah.
So I'm there for the 20-week ultrasound, and they see what was on her radar. The technician was that there was an enlargement of the brain ventricles. And so she sent me down for additional blood work in that one appointment. And she, saying that it could be one of 3 things. Let's see what we can rule out, kind of thing. Nothing was on my radar, nor did I know what could come of this blood work, right? Okay. So it wasn't really spelled out for me. So I go down and have the blood work. They talk to me after, and they're like, look, at this point, it could be one of these 3 things now. And so in the next 2 weeks, we'll get results, and we'll give you a call. Again, nothing is really on my radar, because she also very much downplayed it, because she was saying that this could normalize, as the pregnancy goes on. And so 2 weeks later, I get a call, and it happened to be on Christian's birthday, and we had plans to go to dinner that night. Really, in a few hours, we were going to dinner, and so I get a call, and Christian was not with me at this moment, and basically said, Miss Bobak, are you somewhere where you can receive news? And I'm like, oh man. Still, nothing was on my radar, because I really didn't know what could come of this blood work. Okay, so she said, the blood work did come back, and it did show positive for trisomy 21 chromosome in your blood work. And I'm sitting there, and I'm silent. I'm just listening to everything. And she's like, which, so that does mean that probably 95% chance of this is confirmed that, your child does have trisomy 21. Of course, there's a small chance that the child does not, but would probably err on the side of your child does.
Did you know what that meant? Or
I did.
Okay.
I did. Okay. I was around. I had worked
at the time.
enough.
I might have been like, "What is that?"
Right. Right. I had worked enough with children with special needs at that point. Had my hands in different ministries at that point to know that terminology.
Yeah. Okay.
But as a mother, I didn't know what that meant. And so sure, I knew what that term meant, but I didn't know what that reality really meant for me. And so in that moment, I'm sitting there and I'm digesting this. I don't have my spouse next to me to really digest this with me. And, in that moment, she says within the same sentence, I understand there's a lot to take in. Please know whatever you and your husband decide, we are fully in your corner. We are in full support of this. If after y'all discuss this, if there is a different route you would like to take, please let us know, and we can kind of walk you through what that would look like. And I remember feeling in that moment, now look, I have been part of the pro-life ministry and movement for years. It's very easy to be a part of that movement, before motherhood. Mm-hmm. Then when you become a mother, you're almost full on in it even more. It means something more to you, right? But I can honestly say, and very humbly would say this, for the first time, I really empathized with mothers who, not that I struggled with this decision at all, but I saw them for the first time in a real way, where I didn't see them before. Before this moment, I would hear mothers who are in crisis situations, and I'm like, but I don't understand. It's a light. I don't understand what's so hard about that, right? For the first time in that moment, I'm like, wow, I can see why something could be scary, because I'm sitting there on the phone, and very quickly that option was offered to me, to where, you know, very quickly I was like, oh, no. Like, that is not an option for my husband and I. We are excited about this. We will love this child till the ends of the earth. I just don't know what this means, and I just need to like chew on this for a while. Sure. And I'm saying this with tears in my eyes because the reality of it was, I didn't even realize that I had an expectation on my family until something contradicted it. I didn't even know I had an expectation, right? And maybe most of us don't, but at least for me, like, I didn't know I had this like image expectation until something contradicted it. And I was like, wow, like, what does this even look like? And I can honestly say the fear wasn't for me. The fear was not, how is this child going to affect our family? The fear for me was, am I really going to be a good mom for this child? Like, how do I know what to do? Like, Lord, you really think that I'm going to be the best mother for this child to thrive in this world? Like, me? Like, you really, like, you really have a lot of confidence in me. Like, surely you didn't see me a few moments ago, like chewing out my child, right? And so that was the initial fear for me, was feeling inadequate, feeling like, what does this look like? How am I gonna provide the best space for this child to thrive? And so that was the initial feeling. I remember telling Christian when he got home, and I started bawling, crying. I'm like, I got a phone call from the doctor, and he just like looked at me, and I was like, a child, like, they found trisomy 21 in my blood work. And I remember we both just sat there and hugged and cried. And his response was the most ordained, beautiful response that you would ever want your spouse to say. But he was just like, this is the greatest birthday gift I could have ever received. Wow. And that right there, and I was like, thank you, Jesus.
I just felt that.
Like, thank you, Jesus.
Yes.
His response could have been anything.
Yeah.
But in that moment, like, sure, there's fear. There's a feeling of inadequacy because we're human, right?
Absolutely.
Who walks into that situation like, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
I got
No
this
problem.
on lockdown, you know? But his response was exactly what like his wife needed to hear.
Yes.
And my mother had really needed to hear. I knew that we could do it. I knew that would be fine. But that settled my fear to be like, we're not just going to be fine. Like, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be great. And that's what the Lord's promise is this isn't just going to be fine. Like, it's going to be great. And it's going to be the best. Yeah. So,
well, in how many weeks were you at the point?
We were at 20.
You're at 20. So that's roughly 20 more weeks of thinking about.
We'd like to thank Magnolia Wealth Strategies. Magnolia Wealth Strategies is a holistic personal and business financial guidance firm offering a full range of financial solutions serving the needs of individuals, families, and businesses. Magnolia's main purpose is to help people secure their future and protect the ones they love. They also strive to serve the communities where we live and work. Magnolia helps you grow your way.
All the unknowns, right? Which is every child, but
it was a gift to receive it then. Yeah. It really was. It was a hidden gift. And I know that there's a lot of families, there's so many families that we meet where they don't find out, just like y'all, they don't find out until delivery. Yeah. And the reality is there's a lot of digesting, there's a lot of adjustment there, even emotionally, that needs to be had. And of course, the Lord gives you that grace in that moment, if grace needs to be given. There's grace in that moment, to be able to receive that. It was a gift to receive it when we did, because like you said, he just lined up the people we needed to talk to, the resources we needed. We didn't have all the resources before, but things started to come on our radar when they weren't before. And the excitement just started to grow very quickly. The responses from our family. Yeah. I mean, we told, like, when you tell we have two competitive families, and you give this kind of news to two very competitive, joyful families, the initial response is, oh, we're going to rock the hell out of Special Olympics. We're making T-shirts. Our kid is going to win, you know? And so it was perfect.
That is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was incredible. And it was a gift to know, you know, before, and it was, it was a lot to take in. And I think I said that in that moment just from the witness of my dad. Like I knew that's what he would say, you know, and I knew that too, you know, like this was going to be the greatest gift, you know, and at the same time we're like, how do we do this, you know? And, you know, and as Christyn mentioned, you know, we just kept running into people in the next 20 weeks who specifically had children with Down syndrome. And it was almost random, you know, and I legitimately, I think each one of them said, and I think multiple people said it this exact way was, you just hit the jackpot. And it was just like a cool, like, you know, like, wow, you know, like, and then we just were like super pumped, you know, like this is awesome.
We did.
And,
yes, we did.
Yeah. So, it was a beautiful moment. And, we did end up going to dinner and, that night for my birthday. And, we were still just kind of soaking in it. And then we were at this like fancy steakhouse, which is like playing this like, you know, I guess like what you would imagine a steakhouse, this play kind of music, like fancy
background music.
Yeah, background. And then the song, Danny's song came on, which is like my dad's favorite song. You know, and it was just like it was a pretty amazing day, and that we'll never forget.
And in addition to that, we're getting out of the car and we're walking into dinner. And we see a very clear rainbow in the sky. And the beautiful thing about rainbows with us specifically is every time we found out we were pregnant, there was a very obvious rainbow in the sky. It was bizarre. Yeah. And we're not people where we're like constantly looking for the signs. That's not how the Lord speaks to us. He definitely speaks to us in different ways, but that has been something very consistent and obvious. So that was even a gift in itself. You know, He's like, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, we found out in the delivery room, right? Or maybe I would say no, after when we got to the next room. You hear different families finding out at different stages, right? And you know, I think from because Martin's 2, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Almost 3.
So, and there's a lot of resources of, you know, if you find out before, between birth and, you know, 3, and then what you need to be thinking about and looking at, you know, between 3 and, you know, 5 and 7, you know, so there's these different stages, you know, certainly, and Reed's 10 right now. So we're kind of going through that next chapter, but, you mentioned something about me as a parent. Wait, I just, you know, chewed out my child. Do you find that, and I probably know the answer to this a little bit, that he's taught so much patience, you know, and maybe even with the other children as well? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a story here?
I mean,
where do you want us to start?
Yeah, you know, I could just, I mean, even today, you know, just, you know, he's our biggest joy. Like he's always like, when the music's on, he's dancing, you know, he's so joyful, loves the dance, loves people. He also has a younger brother now. And, you know, he's constantly trying to like, you know, be like, I'm the older brother, but also like loving him is so hard where he doesn't know how to, you know.
Wants to show him the ways, but then make sure he knows.
Yeah, you know, and so, you know, he's definitely taught us some patience in that regard. But he's been a total gift in honestly, like how we approach life, even, you know, like I mean, to be honest with you, at some points we forget that he's special needs. He's just Martin, you know. He's just Martin.
Yeah.
And he's, you know, slightly delayed in speech right now, but he's just like he I mean, a gift also is he has siblings and he's always trying to keep up with them and this and that. And so, but as you said, we're learning the ropes, and what this world is. And, now that he's turning 3, there's other things that are opening up for him. And so, there's been a lot of hospital visits, lots of things that we didn't even realize, that were going to be in our lives.
First year was very hard.
First year. And, but my gosh, he's been a pure joy through the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, Martin's had heart surgery.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
We should probably speak to that.
Yeah. 3 days after, 3 days,
It's 5.
5 days after he was born, he had heart surgery, right. And, which is still blows my mind that doctors can do that, such a little baby.
Amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And so that we were in the hospital for about a little over a month after that, recovering, and they told us, it's your first year, just be prepared. And I think we were in the hospital in and out, close to 15.
It was 10 admittances.
10 admittances.
And each time is between 5 and 7 days.
Yeah. Yeah. And so,
well, and look, there's a concern as parents because they're already delayed,
right.
Sure.
right? And you like even from nursing, and there's these things that you want to like. They'll do what they need to do, but there are milestones they need to hit, right? And that delays things a little more, right? Because if he's in the middle of surgery,
Right.
he needs to recover from that, you know.
Right.
But he's doing fantastic,
Right.
right? He's doing phenomenal,
Yeah.
Right.
But as I knew at the time when we found out, Kathy Kleber was the DHH secretary for the state, right? She was a triathlete.
Nice.
So I knew her as a triathlete and a runner.
Nice.
And she used to work in DHH, the Department of Health and Developmental Disabilities. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I found out, I'm like message her and I'm going, Kathy, like what do we do? And first thing, oh, you're so blessed. Number one. Number two, she told the story of that they can do anything any of our other children can do. They can do anything any children can do. They're just going to take the scenic route.
Yeah.
Right. So it's going to be Route 66 versus the interstate. Right.
Yeah.
They'll take them a little while to get there. And so, I want to finish a little bit on that because it sounds like there's still something, but also moving into, you just done Ironman Lake Placid. And I want to talk about Chris Nikic.
Yes.
Who
Such an
has done
inspiration.
so many
Yes.
Ironman, and can, in a way,
Yeah.
is that a little hard to comprehend?
Incredibly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially having done one
You've
myself.
seen it,
Yeah. It's-
right?
I want to talk to that
Yeah.
friend and be like, what did you do and when did you start?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. 18. Didn't start till 18.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
that's
Anything else
incredible.
on the heart surgery or
I think I just want to make a point that like I think growing up I had a special needs sister named Mary Claire and she had autism but some severe mental delays as well and growing up with a sister like you had to learn different type of love and patience and she would run away or things that she's still nonverbal for the most part and so just learning how to love and be patient and so I think that and especially seeing my dad like they were best buds and which is again when we named Martin but I remember one time Mary Claire she woke up early took out every single bowl every single like cereal food like the kitchen was like Home Alone you see him like just stuff everywhere like
Destroyed.
woke up totally destroyed and we're all like Mary Claire and my dad comes in he's just smiling and he's like she's just trying to make breakfast like that and
What's the problem?
and when my dad passed my sister Kelly who's just above me had this like awesome remembrance vision of my dad of like we grew up in Buffalo and so we would take a lot of road trips because we had tons of kids and but we'd always be driving through the snow and like we're all laying across this huge van and but if like my dad was driving like it was like we could just totally pass out like we'd be in the craziest snowstorm and like you'd see like, you can't even see out the window, but like dad's driving, we're all good. You know what I mean? And we just all felt that. And especially my sister Mary Claire felt that, you know, just like that security, love, patience, like you wouldn't believe. And so again, why we named him Martin, you know, after my dad, but you know, just his witness. So yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, on the Ironman front, it's been something that, you know, we put a pool in this past year because same. I haven't done full, but I've done several half irons and marathons and you know what it takes from a training standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Now he's got a small army helping him, so that's helpful.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you need to get some coaches, and he's got several coaches that help him, but still I think sometimes as parents, we sometimes have governors, sometimes we, you know, not intentionally may hold our kids back. Right.
Yeah.
And our children can do anything, you know, and it's one of the big initiatives that I'm working on, not only here at the Reminding, but encouraging other employers, you know, like the Shepherd Hotel is that they have these gifts.
Yeah.
Right. And you need to let them come out. And from, as Chris's dad, Nick, told me, he's like, look, you know, we noticed, number one, at 18, they realized that if he didn't start doing something, he was going down an unhealthy path. Right. And so they started swimming, started getting on the bikes, you know. The running part is fairly easy except for the duration, right?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, but he noticed that his cognitive functions really started to fire.
Wow.
Right. And that's when I'm like, we're going to Franco's and we're putting him in JoJo's Hope and I'm getting him in lessons and doing all that. And then now we put a pool in. And it's we had lessons 4 days a week this summer.
Wow.
And like, it's like he gets in the pool and it's like, blah, 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 blah. So
He's just rolling.
yeah. So
And outside of that, you see a lot more of just like neurological triggering, firing on all cylinders.
start school, and they're like, oh my God, I could show you all the messages from his speech therapist and his teachers. And they're like, he's talking so much more. Oh yeah. It's been incredible.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
That's our next project.
yep.
Yeah.
Put a pull in. Put a pull in.
Yeah.
But you know, the other part, if you think about like a bike,
Yeah.
and Reed's not there yet. I mean, we're 8 years behind.
Yeah.
But Nick talked about it. He's like, you know, what do you? They have low muscle tone. He goes, but when you're on the bike,
Yep.
what also are you using?
Yep.
Core.
Right, your core. So they have to really kind of focus, and there's other exercises they have to do. Because, but the other part is they kind of started in their neighborhood. They also have to kind of be aware. They have other bikes to kind of protect him, right?
Right.
But he's also getting used to learning of looking out for other cars. So it just gets the sensory,
Yeah.
you know, start firing in a lot of different, you know. And I was like, I get it now.
Yep.
I get it. I
Yep.
see. And then he says in the last part, Chris Public speaks at Fortune 500 companies and gives keynote addresses.
Yep.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
And we know the speech challenges, right? And he's like, what is your mouth?
A muscle.
A muscle.
Right.
You got to work it. Right.
Yep.
So every day he trains.
Yep.
Right. And he works on.
Yep.
And so, you know, I'm sharing all this because I think just with like our other children, we get into kind of a routine and doing the same kind of things. And you got to do some different stuff.
Yeah.
Right. You got to challenge them in different ways. And they can do
Yes.
some amazing things.
Yes.
Right.
And Martin and Reed will.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
will a bunch of other ones out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's easy to you hear from other families, and I see this as a double-edged sword because you hear from other families give you the advice of treat them like all your other children, and where we can all be like, absolutely, you just hit the nail on the head. You can to a certain degree. if we want them to hit their potential and reach their potential, we do need to take the scenic route and push them in different ways.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That is a reality. So sure, we can and very easily treat them like all of our other children. The reality is there is a delay. So how can we still help them to reach that and like push a little more and push a little more in the most appropriate ways, right? So for a while, like, I struggled with that because I'm like, I do want to treat them like everybody else, like Colby and Joan and now Joseph. But I actually can't in all the same ways. I want to push him more because I know he can do more eventually, right?
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yep.
One of the stories,
It's a balance.
and this is a recent story since we've had lunch, but one of the other board members in Dallas, he's the president of the board of the Dallas Down Syndrome Guild. This is another parent, and his wife's in the symphony in Dallas, and so our kids love music, right?
Yeah.
And so they wanted to do something for, but we have to be careful sometimes. If we've been to a symphony, there's kind of a certain kind of behavior you need to have in a
Right.
symphony, right? And so he goes, so what we ended up doing is we rented out, and he goes, that's not inexpensive to have the symphony come, but they did it for that whole Down syndrome community, which was amazing.
Wow.
And I'm like, so those are just people kind of thinking different ways
Yes.
of how, in ways that we can impact,
Yes.
our children. So
Yes.
We have this gym in Mandeville
yeah,
that
CrossFit Mandeville.
Yes, and people are really getting on board with. I know our kids with special needs can do the same things, so let's make sure that what we are doing, allowing our other kids to do, how can we bring it to their level so that they can rise up, right?
Yeah.
Even the gym is really inspiring.
Totally.
And what would you say to some parents that are expecting and maybe
Yeah. I mean, it's, a lot of me wants to pass on the information we got, just you hit the jackpot. But also the reality of there is a lot more work here. I don't, I think we're still figuring that out, what, and each, child is a bit different, but man, is it fun? It's an adventure. The path that we've gone down as a family has been a lot different, but it's been so awesome. The fact that we're here right now is just so awesome. You know what I mean? And it's in a way a lot more rewarding. In a way, God also gives you your family a different way to love, and that's a beautiful, amazing gift. And to kind of think, as Christyn said, sometimes we have this ideal, this is what my family's going to be, and it's so awesome to not always go down that path, to grow, and it's already pulled us as a couple to grow in different ways, and even our children, and so what a beautiful gift, but also man, we definitely feel like we hit the jackpot, and I think maybe the triathlon thing really, got to me. I followed Chris, because he inspires me, I kind of got into the whole Ironman thing just because someone actually, her brother got me into it. But anyways, long story. And I was like, I'm going to do it for my dad first, and then, honor my dad. So I've done it twice. And now this time was for both Martys, my dad and Martin. And what I hope to show is as Chris shows, his motto is 1% better, and I love about triathlon is there's a lot of days you don't feel like you're getting any better, but you just got to stick to it, stick to what, and is going to work eventually. And amazing things can happen at the end of the road, and I have to say this about the Ironman Lake Placid specifically. It's a tough course, really hilly, but at the very end, they have this tradition where they bring in the last play. You have to finish before midnight. And I'm not fast by any means. I'm finishing an hour before midnight, anyways, I'm kind of in the back of the pack.
Is.
Yeah, but I'm finishing, and
all right.
you know, it's this guy, you know, who's coming in. It's like 11:59, and he's like rolling it. But the whole, like all the professional triathletes, all like the whole town comes, and it's right where the Olympics were held, the 1980 Olympics.
Yeah.
And you just feel like this special, like they, you know, this environment.
It's a bond.
And they just are like, you know, bringing this guy across the line. He's like crawling, and it's like this huge party. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, that's such an awesome image, I think, of, you know, life, you know, and who we should be for other people. But like, you know, hopefully that'll be us getting to heaven one day. You know what I mean? And everyone cheering up, you know, anyways, saints, everybody just like getting us through there, you know, getting us through that line. And so I love the Ironman for a lot of reasons, you know, and, you know, I was trying to mirror what Martin was doing in his therapy, you know, because there's sometimes we're like, Christyn, you know, I ask him, like, what did you do today? Oh, he worked on this again today. And I'm like, oh, he's been working on that. But then all of a sudden, like months later, you're like, well, he can speak this now, you know, and it's awesome, you know, just consistent, sticking to 1% better, you know, and then eventually you get across that line. It's awesome. Yeah. So one day I hope to do it with Martin, you know. He loves the pool. We got him.
He loves the pool.
Oh my gosh. You know, but to your point, you know, it's a cool thing to be a part of. I don't consider myself an amazing triathlete or anything like that, but to go through it was awesome, you know, and I just really appreciated it. And the guy who really motivated me was Chris. So
yeah, the in the book, I mean, they have lots of charts, you know, and showing, you know, how just, you know, little 1% improvements over time, and how, you know, and you can apply that to anything in life.
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and certainly with our children, they don't make big leaps, you know, but yes, you see them over time. You're like, oh, okay.
Absolutely.
They're doing it. So, so yeah, the extra speech therapy. I mean, I know a lot of you know, our community, is really fantastic of sharing, hey, you know, my daughter's 26. This is what we learned.
Yes.
You know, passing that along to you guys and others with newborns. And there's lots of resources. I mean, there's local resources, there's national, there's global.
Yes.
You introduced a foundation that I was unaware of as well. So what has been the most challenging, you know, part? Because we have older children. So we have 20 and 18 and 16. Yeah. And they've certainly learned, you know, from them as well. Learn patience and and they're all great big brothers to read for sure. Right. But what's been, you know, the most challenging thing for you?
I can speak to this part.
Okay. I can speak too.
Yeah, but we have a good bit to share, because there are difficulties. I would say for me the most obvious difficulty that I think we share in the home is we're in the hamster wheel of parenthood right now, with the ages of our kids, right? So our oldest is just turned 6. Our second oldest is about to be 5. Martin's about to be 3, and now we have a 1-year-old that just turned 1, right? So we have 4 children in a short amount of time. We had 4 kids in 5.5 years.
Just keeping the diapers fresh.
Just keeping the diapers fresh. We have never not bought a diaper. But I will say, you know, so with that comes the difficulty of you just have your hands full. Everyone has needs all at the same time. So to couple that with a child with special needs and what those needs look like, because he doesn't speak well, he resorts to a lot of screaming and pointing. So, you know, as parents, we all know, like there's this certain, somebody explained it to me. We have a friend who was in the Navy SEALs for years. And he said one of the training sessions that they put him in was, you know, they put him in a box to see how long they can last. And at a certain point, after X amount of time, you know, they're really getting worn down in this box. They start introducing sounds and noises, right? Okay. One, you know, other than their own children's noises and their wife, or, you know, their spouse, not just their wife, their spouse. One of the noises they introduce is a screaming baby, because they say that naturally that decibel, that noise immediately naturally puts your body in like fight or flight mode, right?
yeah.
And I was like, thank you for shedding light on that. Like, that's why we feel so crazy sometimes, right? There's a science behind it. So right now in this phase of life, you know, all of our children have needs. They're all little. There's only so much we can ask of our 6-year-old and our 4-year-old right now. Although we treat them like teenagers sometimes. But on top of that, you have a screaming 2-year-old son who's frustrated. He's trying to communicate what he wants, right? And he just can't.
Yeah.
He's trying. So that I would say for me as a mother, that is the hardest thing is Martin can't speak. His way of communicating when he's frustrated is to scream, right? So it's making sure that I'm not lashing out at the other ones. They need to be heard too. You cannot just give your child with special needs all the attention. And nobody does that intentionally, right?
No.
But a lot of times it becomes easy to do that because you're like, let me just put a Band-Aid on this. He really needs me right now, right? Or let me just like silence this. I can turn to my attention to yell in a little bit. Well, your other kids start to feel that, you know, and they feel that over time and they see that. So I would say that for me is the hard part is I don't want them feeling like they're getting pushed aside, yet I need to figure out what to do here. So we're just in like a tough phase of that reality, you know?
Yeah. And Christyn does an awesome job. I think you're saying it sounds like she does a great job. But I was gonna say that as well.
Doors.
Just, you know, I would say communication. You know, he's still learning communication, but he's, you know, more and more he's doing different sign language things, which is really amazing. You know, he's 2 years old. I'm starting to learn sign language, you know. More. Yeah.
Right.
And
For everything.
But still, I think he gets frustrated when he can't always communicate exactly what he wants, and we're trying to figure that out. I think that's our, you know, I guess the hurdle we're trying to jump over the most probably right now. But also, you know, I would say, you know, I think there still is a challenge of just, you know, what is out there that we're not doing, or what can we be doing more for him? You know, I feel like there's a lot of, as you mentioned, a lot of groups and support things, but you know, unless you're connected, you know, like you really need help with that, you know, like what's next?
Nobody's holding your hand.
Yeah. You know, it's not like, you know, you have a baby and like, here's the Down syndrome playbook. This is what you got to do. Boom, boom, boom.
Right.
And so, you know, so we're, you know, learning, you know, it's like, he's only 2, you know, he's about to be 3, but,
It was AI now, so I mean that
I just
solves
throw it in the
everything,
chat
right?
GPT.
What
to do.
How do I parent this child? It was perfect. Give me a great answer.
No, you know, but yeah, I mean, I think you know, with our other kids too, like you know, he's like, he just wants to be part of the group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he is like, he's Martin, you know, and it's cool. Like he just started like a little, I don't know what you call it, Mother's Day out twice a week.
Yeah.
Because Christyn went back to work and well, we were a little nervous about how that was going to go. And he's already like, you know, they're already learning sign language, and he's just totally, it's all good, you know? So
every day we pick him up, they're like, he had the best day. I'm like, I'm sure he did.
yeah, we have to just remind ourselves, like, he's going to do great. You know, we just got to, you know, there's going to be some fear always, you know, like what if he gets frustrated and can't speak and they don't know what to do? And, you know, but you know, he where there's a will, there's a way, and he's got a will.
And I do want to say this, and somebody told me this, and I'm like, thank you. I'm going to keep that in my back pocket. You know, it's very easy to have this mentality of like, what if they don't know what to do, right? And we're entrusting them into somebody else's care for a short amount of time, right?
Yeah.
Somebody was like, you're giving somebody else the gift to grow. You're giving somebody else the gift to learn and to be exposed to other people's needs, and like to learn how to love in that way too. It's not just the Lord teaching y'all how to learn this way. You're allowing somebody else to learn that too. And I was like, thank you. Like I needed to hear that.
And that's kind of like here at the reminding or the big thing that we're encouraging employers. A lot of the fear is we don't know what to do.
Right.
Sure.
So we had to point them to resources, and there are
Right.
resources for employers to go, it's different. It's not like hiring anybody else, right?
Sure.
So here's the things you need to think about. And then as parents, here's what the parents need to, so you're educating,
Yeah.
you know, it is not just employer
Yep.
and employee.
Yep.
There's other people connected to this relationship. And
Yep.
so
Right.
from a, but what's going to be the beneficiaries of that? It's not just the company. It's not just the business. It's not just the individual that's going to be working there. The community is going to learn.
Yeah.
Right. They're going to learn patience. They're going to learn when I go up for a coffee,
Yeah.
I'm not like at Starbucks
Totally.
trying to hurry up and get out of here.
Right.
Right. They
Yeah.
learn from that, and they learn patience. They learn love.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And one of Reed's teachers went to a coffee shop in the Carolinas, and she's like, I spent 4 or 5 hours there because I just wanted to be around it,
Yeah.
And so those are gifts, and so Mother's Day Out programs, Reed went in that, and then and I don't know if it's even still around because he's 10 now, but he went very early on to Montessori school.
Yes.
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 Yeah. And so
So good.
you got to get them out there.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Because they learn.
Yep.
They learn so much.
Yes. Amen.
He's showing up to Christian soccer practices now
Yeah,
with
he's
the
like
boys.
he's doing everything. He's really good at mimicking. Oh my gosh, And so I'm
He
doing
stands out there
little
with the ball.
moves, and he's doing them. It's incredible, So, yeah, he's
Yep.
he's
Oh,
crushing
yeah.
it. I mean, he's gonna be a soccer player.
Yeah.
Heck
He's
yeah,
gonna-
yeah, he is.
Right.
So he really had
No
no choice.
expectations over here. However,
he is gonna be in the World Cup,
yeah.
Special Needs World Cup for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. There's, so again, when I found out that there's, through my recent Dallas connections, and there's been a couple other ones, but there's I think he's a first baseman for the Texas Rangers who has a child with Down syndrome.
Wow.
So he's now, I think, so there's another, we mentioned Rock the Spectrum, which is the indoor playground that's going to be coming here next to Crunch Fitness. But there's Gabby's. Have you heard of Gabby's?
Yeah. What is that?
Yeah. I think that's the right name. Shoot. But yeah, playground. So it's the indoor playground.
Okay.
And I think the first baseman for the Texas Rangers is getting pretty involved
Wow.
with that entity.
That's awesome.
We need
So,
all these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need all of them.
Yeah.
So, anything else that you guys would like to share as we're kind of getting close to wrapping up? Just with either new families, and also, you have your extended family, right? Y'all have 21 between the aunts and uncles and
It's crazy.
cousins, and
Yeah.
even though most of them are somewhere else, or at least not here on the North Shore, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I do want to say this to the parents who are new to this. The changes and the growth that you see in your children are tangible. We always heard that, and he knew that reality growing up with Mary Claire. When you're in the driver's seat and you're the parents, you do sit there and you're like, I hope that my children, I just hope that my children can grow with this as much as you would hope as a parent, right? And so what we have seen in our children, and I have to give a specific example. So again, our children are only 6 and 4, and then a 1-year-old. So our 6 and 4-year-old, there is nothing that they can do wrong in our son Martin's eyes. Martin, they just hang the moon for him. Okay. So yes, he wants to be a part of everything that they do. So, we go to the playground, and it's just, there's something so natural in a little girl to want to be motherly towards other children, right?
Yes.
Especially when these little girls feel like somebody needs them. So whenever we go to the playground, they're running around, they're running up and down the slide or the steps, and they're doing all the things. They're swinging on the swing. Whenever Joan, who is 4 years old, sees that Martin is trying to walk up the hill, and he starts going on his all fours, and he's trying to crawl up because he doesn't quite have the leg stamina to just stay on his feet and do it, or he's trying to walk up the steps and he's struggling, or whatever. He is always on her radar. she always notices him, and she's like, Martin, and she'll go back down where he is. She grabs his hand. She's like, no, like this, Martin. And so she already has this natural tendency to look out for him.
Yeah.
And so now whenever we're getting out the car, and most of the time, because he's at work, most of the time if I need to go to the store or if I'm going to take them to the playground, wherever I'm going, or the pool, I'm taking all four, by myself. Martin does not want to go anywhere without holding their hand. So now, and he screams, he will not walk now until he's like, and he's reaching his hand out, and I'm like, Joan, I'm like, can you please come hold his hand? She's like, oh yeah, Martin. And Colby's like, oh yeah, Martin. So all three of my children, walk hand in hand to wherever we're going. And as a mother, to like sit back, you're like, thank you. Logistically, that makes it easier for me because you're holding the baby. But then just like on a beyond that level, you watch that as a parent and you're like, this is life.
Mm-hmm.
This is life.
Yep.
And so for the new parents to really hear that reality and to know that like that's what you have to look forward to in your own children, that kind of growth, it is tangible and it's real and it's going to be there, because there's no way that your special needs child cannot not affect everyone in your family. There's going to be change that will happen. It's going to move them. And so, and as a parent, it's our job to really continue to communicate in such a way that fosters that.
Yeah.
However you want to do that as a parent, it's going to look differently for everybody, but you're communicating in that way. You're showing them how to do that in the way that you parent Martin or your Reed or whoever your child is going to be an example to your children, right? And so it holds you accountable because you can be frustrated at times. It's very easy to be like, Martin, like, why'd you spill that? Or, but to realize like your children are watching.
Yes.
And so they are changing. They love him. And so the way that you parent is going to be an example of how they treat him as well. And so, it's really such a beautiful reality that a lot of other families don't get to experience that, and we do.
It's so true because we talk about joy,
Yeah.
right? And they just radiate. They just radiate joy,
Right.
and we've got a picture, of course, 2018-16, but we have a picture of the four of them, with the holding hands, and from behind as they're walking through the parking lot,
Right.
and you're like, if something happens,
They got his
right,
back.
they got him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
they got
Oh,
Reed.
yeah.
They got Reed and Martin,
Yeah.
and that's look. It's something you have to think about too, as well, because life expectancy is gone up tremendously.
Right.
Right, and
Yep.
so we were we didn't get a will with Merritt. We didn't get our will done with Grant. We didn't get our will done with Nate. It took Reed. We're like, okay, we need to go
Yeah.
get this done.
Right.
Right. And we've gotten several things done. But I appreciate what you said about you were able to see the expecting mothers or those
Yeah.
out there. I think the biggest thing is the what you don't know is just the pure joy and love
Yeah.
Amen.
that you get,
Yeah.
and that they give to so many others as well.
Yep.
And they sense, they know. It's like when somebody needs a hug, it's
Oh,
like,
man.
When we're
His
correcting our
empathy
other
is-
Yeah.
children, when we're correcting our other children,
yeah,
and we're like, the tone or the face that we're
Yeah.
using, we're correcting them. Martin's standing over here, and you see, like, we're correcting Colby over here, and
yeah.
Martin just immediately, his entire body just starts to crumble, and he's doing this, and the tangible, like,
like I'm
And he's looking.
I'm getting in trouble too,
Yeah, and
or
we have to look at him
I'm
like,
sad for
we're
him.
like, you're not in trouble, Martin. Like, it's okay, Martin. It's not okay, Colby. It's okay, Martin. It is not okay what you just did, So you're right. They feel it.
Yeah.
And the empathy that they have, that alone is a gift in and of itself. They feel everything that you're feeling and they want to.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
You feel seen. You're seen by them.
Yeah, and obviously Christyn touched on this earlier, but I think what I would like to say to parents, obviously it's scary, obviously we found out before we were having Martin, and I think I grew up with a special needs, sibling, but when it really is your own, it's a wow moment, and but at the same time, you're given a tremendous responsibility. And that is I don't know anybody who's ever given a huge responsibility and be like, I got it. You know what I mean? And so I think that's healthy, to feel that way, but also be like, man, here we go, you know? And there is many things out there that we're discovering that we had no idea, that are there to help and support. And your kid is going to be awesome, and it's going to, challenge you for sure, and again, we're only 3 years into this, but, it's challenged us. Obviously we've grown, but I think you have to be real in saying it is a huge responsibility, and what a gift that is to have that. So, yeah.
Well, God only gives us what we can handle.
Yeah.
Right.
Amen.
And or what maybe he feels like we need.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. We may not be able to handle it, but he will equip us eventually.
Yeah.
To be able to handle it.
Well, again, thank y'all so much for coming on, and I'm so blessed that Stephen said,
oh man,
and introduced us.
Yeah, when he was like, he does marathons and he's got a Down syndrome kid and he does this and that. And I'm like,
Christian's like, check.
Yeah, we got to meet, you know. So I'm so glad.
Soccer.
Yeah.
You'll be working with Nate some more.
Yes, absolutely.
We've had a little session. So my 16-year-old.
Yep.
But thanks again for tuning in to Getting Down with Purpose, and join us on the next episode.